People always debated, who's the greatest player of all time?
Hey guys, this is Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. My name is Sean David, and I welcome you to your weekly dose of old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to take a look at Michael Jordan and LeBron James answering the GOAT questions and, basically giving their opinion about the GOAT debate. And you will see that both players, both NBA icons, have totally different ways how to approach that conversation. But before we start with that, let me ask you guys for a small favor. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video if you enjoy the content. And I would say enough of that. Let's get right down into it. So I would like to start with Michael Jordan's comments about the GOAT conversation, and I will take a look at what he said not too long ago and also his replies to the same questions when he was still playing. Let's take a look.
5-10 years ago, it was always who's greater, who's going to be the greatest, him or Jack, and that conversation is pretty much over to most people.
I beg to differ, and I'll give a different analogy to that because, first of all, you're never going to say who's the greatest of all time. To me, I think that's more for PR and more for selling stories and getting hype. Jack and Tiger never played against each other. They never played in the same tournament. They never played with the same equipment. They never played with the same length of golf course. I never played against Wilt Chamberlain. I never played against Jerry West. To now say that one's greater than the other is being a little bit unfair.
Do you think that this accomplishment, combined with all your others, vault you over the Johnsons and Birds and Russells and Chamberlains?
No, because I think that's something that I really can't say can be established. Each one of us playing at different eras, with different teams, with different levels of success. And to compare all of them and say one's better than the next, it's an unfair justice to the art or to the artists. Being that Magic Johnson, Wilt Chamberlain, all the guys before me were the artists of this game of basketball, and we've all learned from them, and we've improved the picture to a certain extent. And to say that one improvement is better than all of it, it's an unfair assessment.
People always debated, who's the greatest player of all time? Dumb question. It should be, who's the greatest team of all time? There are so many teams to choose from. The 91 Chicago Bulls, sorry Showtime. The 92 Bulls, back-to-back. The 93 Bulls, first three-peat. The 97 Bulls, even with the flu. 98 Bulls, no push-off. And my favorite, the 96 Chicago Bulls. 72 wins. Tough to beat that. What? You think there's someone else? Prove it.
I think when you can see the similarities and you understand, this is one way you can judge the two. How much impact did each change or evolve the game? I won 6 championships. Bill Russell won 11. Does that make Bill Russell better than me and make me better than him? No, because we play at different eras. So when you try to equate who's the greatest of all time, it's an unfair parallel. It's an unfair choice.
Okay, pretty interesting. Now, we can see that Michael Jordan was pretty humble when it came to that question, never calling himself the GOAT. And personally, to me, I think that's the right way how to approach it. Even if he would believe that he's the greatest player of all time, it also has to do with class and being humble. Now, let's see what LeBron James has to say about the same questions and the same thing. Let's take a look.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time.
For so many reasons.
I was super ecstatic to win one for Cleveland because of the 52-year drought. like I was ecstatic. Like obviously I showed that the first wave of emotion was when everyone saw me crying. Like that was all for 52 years of everything in sports going on in Cleveland. And then after I stopped, I was like, that one right there made you the greatest player of all time. You know, everybody was just talking how they were the greatest team of all time. Like they was the greatest team ever assembled. And for us to come back, you know, the way we came back in that fashion, I was like, you did something special. That's probably one of the only times in my career I felt like, oh shit, like you did something special. I haven't really had time to really like sit back and think, but that.
Always have the barbershop.
Yeah, right.
Like who's this, who's the greatest, who's the GOAT. What makes a GOAT? Like what is
if we're
the
just
GOAT?
talking about from a basketball standpoint.
It's over! Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Cleveland! This is for you! Oh! At that moment, I was like, I'm the greatest basketball player people have ever seen. In all facets, like, you know, I could play the 1 through 5. I can guard 1 through 5. You know, just like literally like did something that's never been done in the history of the sport. I mean, teams that go down 3-1 was 0 for like 32 in finals history. There was nobody ever coming out of that. And nobody gave us a chance. I just felt like ain't nobody better than me at this.
LeBron, last question. I said at the beginning of the show, I wish that I would have had this moment, the chance to pass up Kareem. You now pass up Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I know what my attitude would have been. Does this now make you the greatest player of all time?
Me personally,
say it with your chest,
I'm gonna take myself against anybody that's ever played this game. You know, but everyone's gonna have their favorite. Everyone's gonna, you know, decide who their favorite is. But I know what I've brought to the table. I know what I bring to the table every single night, and what I can do out on this floor. So. You know, I always feel like I'm the best to ever play this game, but you know, there's so many other great ones, and I'm happy to just be a part of their journey.
No, I just want to make sure that you guys understand I'm not hating on LeBron James whatsoever. I think he's a sensational player and definitely one of the greatest players of all time. I have him in my top 6, which is pretty high in my opinion. But calling himself the GOAT, I always had a huge problem with that. Even when he surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to me, passing him does not mean that you're the greatest player of all time. It just means that you played for a very long time on a consistent level, which also is incredible, but that does not qualify you for being the greatest player of all time. Now let's take a look at some of the NBA greatest legends, what they have to say about LeBron James calling himself the GOAT. Let's take a look.
Him saying that, and by the way, that conversation was for a documentary that was supposed to appear on ESPN+, so he knew cameras were rolling. It's not like they caught him in a moment.
Well,
I think
it's pretty great that a guy won 3 titles, left for 2 years, came back and won 3 more. That is considered greatness to me.
Yeah.
Winning ultimately decides who the greatest players are in the game.
The greatest player of all time on that More Than an Athlete broadcast. He was talking about how he felt after the 2016 championship. Well, Danny Ainge not only disagrees, he strongly disagrees. Here's what he said about LeBron and a local sports radio show in Boston. Quote, "His career's not over. I'd just like to know why he's saying that. I don't know. Maybe he thinks that sells. Maybe he's taking the Donald Trump approach and trying to sell himself. I don't know."
I've never heard one of the greatest say they were the greatest of all time. That was very interesting to me. Kevin, what are your thoughts?
Oof, man, you know what? It's one thing. We all sit at this table all the time and sing his praises.
Yeah.
I think LeBron is a great player. Yeah. I just think that's disrespectful, honestly, to Bill Russell. What did Bill Russell do? Won every time. He said, "All right, fellas, you want to win? Come with me. We'll go on the floor." That's what this game's all about. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
I mean,
and he was great on all levels, though, Kareem. The best in high school, the best in college, and the best in the pros.
That's what I'm saying. You know, Michael. I mean, there's just so many. 2 of my good, Larry and Magic. I mean, just led teams and turned the league around. You don't need to say that about yourself. Let other people say that for you. I mean, I was kind of surprised because I had read about it. But that's the first time I had actually heard him say it. Made me the GOAT. I'm like, damn.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you know, I love the kid. I think he's a great player. I think he's been great for the game. But let other people say that for you. To me, it's just disrespectful for a lot of people that came before you that were great great players.
All right, you guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the content. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine.